Thanks for joining us. Breaking news. 2 people abducted at gunpoint from a gas station, forced then to drive to a bank. One of them then part of a police chase that ended in gunfire.
Breaking news here at noon. We are following reports of underground explosions being heard in downtown Richmond. We want to get right to this video.
We do have team coverage covering every angle.
We begin with breaking news. More than 24 kids have been injured in a school bus accident.
There's concern of refreezing on the roadways tonight.
And that's ahead of another bitter cold front headed our way this week.
Our 8 News crews are keeping you and your family safe tonight, covering every angle of this winter storm.
Time to prepare your home, your car, and the people you love. The 8 News Winter Weather Special starts now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here for our 8 News Winter Weather Special.
Thanks for joining us for this 8 News Richmond Magazine Best of Special. I'm Juan Condi.
I'm Christina Ferrick.
I'm Amy Lacey. It is that time of year again when we feature the people, the places, the businesses that you voted Best of Richmond.
And right now at 5, thank you for joining us. History is in the making. Pope Francis is celebrating Mass in Washington, D.C.
You are looking at live pictures from the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception.
We begin with breaking news. More than 24 kids have been injured in a school bus accident here in Caroline County. You see the bus overturned. These are the latest images from the scene just into our newsroom.
We've been getting so many calls about this when the bus overturned on Route 206 near Caroline County High School.
We bring you now live coverage from the scene, beginning with 8 News reporter Avajoy Burnett. Avajoy, what can you tell us?
Hey, good evening, Juan. As you can see, the school bus is still out here on its roof. Believe it or not, everyone made it out alive. Now, this all happened around 3 this afternoon. And according to the sheriff here, the bus was trying to go down in Rogers Clark Boulevard and see that SUV over here. A student was driving that SUV. And according to Sheriff Lippa, that student tried to beat the bus across the intersection. She did not make it, and the bus collided. There were more than 40 kids on the school bus. 28 of them ended up with injuries. 5 of those injuries were serious injuries. They were all transferred to the hospital. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of parents, a lot of people who are really shaken up about this. Right now, we have 8 News reporter Matthew McClellan, who has reaction from some parents. Matthew?
Hey, Avajoy. Right now, medics have cleared the scene. All ambulances are gone as they treat these students who were injured in this accident. But if you look from this angle at the school bus, you see just how devastating this accident was and just how much worse it could have been. 3 windows punched out on the side nearest to me. That's where some of those students escaped. Also, several students coming out the emergency door at the rear of the bus and at the front of the bus. They told me it was so disorienting to come to after being blacked out, and then they're crawling on what is normally the roof of the bus. Now, here's what one mom says her daughter told her happened when she came to.
And the last thing they remember is the bus tilting to the side, and then before they knew it was turned over. My stepdaughter said when she finally came to and looked around, the girl beside her was covered in blood.
Now, you can only imagine the panic those parents were experiencing as they waited in traffic as the roads were closed off, waiting to get to their kids, many of them unsure if their children were okay. We saw several of them running through stopped traffic to get to this bus and check on their kids. A spokesperson for Mary Washington Hospital tells me that the hospital has Mary Washington Healthcare, rather, tells me the hospital has taken in 2 students with injuries. They are being assessed for whether they are in serious condition. The hospital is potentially expecting about 8 more patients. Spotsylvania and VCU also expected to take in students injured on this bus. We're told parents are aware of what hospitals are treating their children. Reporting live in Caroline County, Matthew McClellan, 8 News.
Both Matthew, both Avajoy staying out there on the scene. When you see that bus, you realize just how much worse it could have been.
Back to that breaking news in Richmond. Several reports of an explosion in Richmond. This is video sent to us from a viewer, an 8 News viewer, and you can see thick smoke in the streets. We are told this is from an underground transformer that has exploded. We want to go live right now to 8 News reporter Kristen Smith. Kristen, what's going on down there?
Well, Carrie, if you look behind me, you'll see there is still smoke coming from a manhole cover at 6th and Main Streets. Richmond Fire is telling us that 2 Dominion Power transformers blew and caused that underground fire. They are working on getting that under control and put out right now.
Once again, we're following breaking news right now in Carytown.
Yes, we're getting reports that an officer there has been shot in the arm. Let's go back out to 8 News reporter Jonathan Costin, who's live at the scene now and has the best information for us right now. Jonathan?
That's right, Juan and Christina. We're told that an officer was shot in the arm, non-life-threatening injuries. He was rushed to the hospital, and we're told that the suspect that was being chased by the police was shot and he was killed. That's what we've been told. We have one fatality out here, and over my right shoulder just moments ago, police handcuffed 2 young men over my right shoulder, where you see the yellow crime scene tape.
Former Richmond megachurch pastor Geronimo Aguilar is guilty of assaulting 2 girls sexually when they were just 11 and 13 years old. Tonight, the now adult victims are asking 8 News to reveal their identities. 8 News investigator Carrie O'Brien was in Texas as today's verdict came down.
Hugs, tears, and a sigh of relief from the victims and their families in this courthouse here in Fort Worth. Geronimo Aguilar is behind bars tonight.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of
the founder of The Rock, once considered to be the fastest growing church in America, is now a convicted criminal off to prison. Geronimo Aguilar guilty on all 7 counts of child sex abuse.
So we're just very thankful, 20 years. And it's finally coming out.
The victims overcome with emotion, tears of joy, and a sense of justice. After all this time, someone believes them, and the man who abused them will pay the price.
I think I'm still in shock a little bit. It's just, I didn't think this day would ever come.
8 News doesn't normally show a victim's face, but these women want you to see them. They want other victims to know it's okay to come forward.
The hardest part is that nobody believes you, or the people who have heard don't do anything.
Outside the court, hugs and thanks to the jurors. Many of the jurors asked to meet the victims. One juror told 8 News the evidence was overwhelming. There was never a doubt in her mind Aguilar was guilty.
It was just really clear who was telling the truth and who wasn't.
How about you, Ms. Barbieri? Aguilar's attorneys didn't want to discuss the verdict. Any comment or reaction?
No, thank you.
While there had been accusations of sexual abuse before, both the victims and the prosecutors agree. What made the difference this time was all the women who spoke up.
I think it was time. It was the courage to come forward, the courage to stand up against the machine that he had created.
I hope that he can't hurt anybody anymore. That he can no longer do these things to families.
Sentencing won't happen for a couple of months. The defense has requested a pre-sentence report. We hear there are plans for an appeal. Prosecutors plan to push for life in prison. Reporting from Fort Worth, Carrie O'Brien, 8 News.
It's so bad that I couldn't even keep my kids in the house. And I have a newborn son who's ready to be 2 months old, and I have a 3-year-old son.
New at 6, a Richmond mom says she and her family have been living with roaches. A lot of them.
She has complained and gone as far as not paying her rent, and now she is reaching out to 8 News. Today, 8 News reporter Jonathan Costin paid a visit to her Fairfield court home.
Jonathan, we understand you talked to both that woman and public housing officials.
That's right. Housing officials are looking into the problem, but here's another problem. The woman who used to live in this apartment behind me, well, she doesn't live there anymore.
Can't do nothing. So basically, I'm locked out.
27-year-old Patrice Horan is a single mom of 2 children. She's also homeless. Today, she was evicted from a Fairfield court home, a home that's infested with roaches. Here are some photos and videos she recorded.
This is one of my downstairs closets.
3 roaches fell on my son this morning. And I was sitting right beside him, ready to pick him up and feed him his bottle. Sometimes I wouldn't even cook because of the fact that they was all on my stove waiting like, yeah.
Horan admits she was behind in her rent.
I was using the rent money that they wanted. I was using trying to get rid of them roaches for my kids' sake.
Other tenants on her street say they also have roaches, but the problem is not as bad as Miss Horan's home. We reached out to housing authority officials, and we ended up running into them as they inspected homes. And they admit there's certainly an infestation problem where Miss Horan used to live.
The housing authority is aware that we have some issues. We just completed in June 100% assessment of all 4,000 of our public housing units, looking for the level of infestation.
We're told those homes that have a serious problem will be given priority, and they'll be baited with roach traps. traps. And as far as where Miss Haran will live now?
Well, I don't know. I really don't.
Well, the housing authority, they told me they can't go into why Ms. Haran was evicted, but they usually give tenants at least 3 delinquency notices before they kick them out. And they also say if she needs a hand finding a shelter, they'll help her find a shelter. Reporting live, Jonathan Costin, 8 News.
I was under the car, then everybody was looking at me under the car, and they went to go get my mommy, and then my mommy took me in the house.
A 5-year-old hit-and-run victim is talking to 8 News tonight, describing how she was hit and then dragged by an SUV. As you can imagine, family members say Christasia Jones is a fighter.
That is evident. Last night, she returned home from the hospital, but that was after several surgeries on her leg and on her head.
You saw the bandages there on the side of her head. 8 News reporter Jonathan Costin has the latest.
Christasia is the victim of a hit-and-run accident, and when you ask her how she's doing...
Good.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
Last Sunday night, she was riding her bike along with her twin sister in their apartment complex parking lot when someone in a white newer model Ford Escape hit her. Her mother says she never lost consciousness.
I was under the car, then everybody was looking at me under the car, and they went to go get my mommy.
She said he got out the car and he told her he was sorry, and I guess he must have panicked, and that's when he drove off.
Her family is glad their little loved one is home. Christasia is a mathematician who loves to add numbers and guessing how old people are.
You 22 or 23?
Say what now?
How old are you?
I'm old. I'm real old.
You 100?
Almost. The energetic 5-year-old girl has 2 rods in her leg, and when paramedics picked her up Sunday night, they said her injuries were life-threatening.
I'm guessing because of the damage done to the side of her head, because her bone was exposed and the flesh was exposed. But somehow they managed to move tissue around to sew it up.
Chris's spirits are certainly upbeat because being bedridden comes with perks.
And money to me, and all presents, and all flowers.
Well, you tell she is certainly a handful. Now, family members expect Christasia to make a full recovery, but the family and police still need your help tonight in tracking down the driver of the white Ford Escape who left her at the scene hitting Christasia. Jonathan Costin, 8 News.
An elementary school in Colonial Heights is trying something new to help bring children closer together.
8 News reporter Kristen Smith spent an afternoon at their playground to see how it works.
On a playground full of children, it's still easy to be lonely. Kids don't always feel like they fit in. But at Tussing Elementary School in Colonial Heights, there's a special spot designed to bring the kids together.
Well, whenever you don't have a friend, you can come over here and sit on it, and then people will come over, and then you'll have a friend.
It is a friendship rock, a place where students can build relationships.
What are you two doing?
It is a visual reminder to be friends and work together.
Principal David Staples put the rock on the playground after seeing a story about another one at a school in Massachusetts. The concept is simple. Kids who are feeling lonely or excluded go to the rock, then other children respond.
You can make friends easily by just sitting on the rock.
Not only does the friendship rock help the children bond, it boosts their self-confidence.
So it's been a nice way for them to try to solve that problem and help fill a friend's bucket to make their day a little bit brighter.
In essence, it is so none of us have to be lonely. If that's the message that gets out there, then that rock is like gold.
From the Friendship Rock, Kristen Smith, 8 News.
This Stucky was here that night. Somehow it also disappeared in the morning.
A giant inflatable duck disappears from a family's front yard in Chesterfield. The little girl who it belongs to is pleading for its return. Our 8 News anchor Avajoy Burnett spoke with that little girl. She has autism, and she found that the duck has very special meaning to this child.
It's a story that you'll see only on 8.
This yard is missing a very significant Christmas decoration, and the item meant a lot to the 6-year-old who has Asperger's.
This is where our ducky was, and it's actually ginormous. We had a lot of people asking, where did our ducky go? Who took it?
This is the ducky Alexis is talking about. When the family woke up this morning,
The ducky was not here. I know it was here last night. I know it. It really broke my heart that's missing. I mean, I just love that rubber duck. It's a really big ducky.
Why did you love it?
Because it's so cute. With this little hat on top of it.
the family says Alexis first saw that rubber ducky on a movie and she loved it so much that her grandfather had to make some sacrifices just so that she could get it.
It's not so much about the money, which the money was, it was over $200, but it was something that she loved. That meant a lot to her.
Alexis has Asperger's, a form of autism, and she was really connected to that inflatable ducky.
We just want our duck back. I mean, it sounds silly, but they don't understand the meaning it means to us.
And while she waits and hopes that it will reappear,
And this is one of my favorite Christmas decorations.
she's thankful for the one she still has.
Well, these guys are still here. I'm glad about that.
Oh, such a sweet girl. Avajoy Burnett reporting that story. We hear the rubber ducky was also pretty popular in the neighborhood, not just for her.
Yeah, people pull up and take pictures next to it. This is the second Christmas that the family put that duck out. Police are now looking into the theft. We certainly hope they find the little girl's ducky soon.
What a Grinch.
Juan and Amy, 32-year-old Frank Ernest Blake Jr. invited me to chat with him tonight while in custody at the Henrico County Jail. He tells me he thought his marriages with his first two wives were over before he ever married his third wife.
No, I ain't no cheater.
Frank Blake Jr. says he is being wrongfully accused for being married to not one, not two, but three women all at the same time.
It's crazy, man. This is a joke right here. This right here shouldn't even be happening, man. I don't see how it's happening.
Blake says he can't explain everything, so we'll let him tell you his side of the story.
I was married to the first girl and thought I was divorced, and evidently it ain't. I mean, when you get divorced with somebody, you got the right to go marry somebody else. And I thought it was legal to go do it, and evidently it won't. I never thought number two was even I mean, I thought it was a voided marriage. I didn't think it was a real marriage. I mean, it was only a marriage for like a week, man. I mean, it was nothing. I don't even know why it even happened, man. Then I met Jessica and I went and married Jessica because I loved her. I mean.
We tracked down wife number 3 who says she is Frank Blake's only wife.
He doesn't believe in having more than one wife. He's not a polygamist. This was an honest mistake, and this man did not at all believe he was married to this woman.
She says she doesn't understand how the system would even allow a man who is married to marry again.
How can you allow someone to issue a marriage license when you have their social security number, you have all of their information? If they were married to someone else, why wouldn't that pop up and say, flag, no, you can't marry this person, you're still legally married to this person?
Now, Blake is facing a $40,000 bond. Now, just moments ago after our 5 o'clock story aired, wife number 2, Crystal, called our newsroom. She says she disagrees with Blake's side of things. She says she believes she was still in a marriage with Frank Blake up until a few weeks ago and had even helped with legal bills. We will certainly keep you updated on this story. Parker Slayball, 8 News.
And you know what they say? If you can't beat them, join them. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to send it back to Darielle. See you guys.
Oh, wait, we got to see you. We got to see you.
Hold it.
Come on. Woo!
She's moving! Oh! She held on to it! Oh, yeah!
Come here. And it's a boy.
That's a Dinwiddie man breaking down when he finds out he's going to be a dad. And that touching moment there is getting a lot of likes, as you can imagine, on social media. 8 News reporter Kristen Smith is here with the story.
I think you're going to like this one. Dana Griffin Graves wanted to come up with a special way to let her husband know they were expecting a baby. Then she secretly recorded his reaction. But what makes this story even more remarkable is just how long this couple has waited for a child of their own.
There's some stuff in the oven, too.
What's in the oven? It was the dinner surprise of a lifetime.
You pregnant?
Arkell Graves learning he's going to be a dad after his wife Dana planted the baby's ultrasound photo right next to buns in the oven.
Due February 16th. Come here. And it's a boy. His reaction was just priceless. I wasn't expecting that at all. I knew that he would probably be emotional, but I definitely was not expecting the reaction that I received.
I've never been that excited before in my life. And I mean, not mainly for myself, for her.
Tears of joy after the Dinwiddie couple struggled for nearly 17 years to have a child. Dana suffered 4 miscarriages and a stillbirth.
It was definitely a struggle, a roller coaster with emotions, going back and forth. And I just got to the point I was like, you know what, I want to stop trying.
So she was shocked to find out last week that she's nearly 5 months pregnant. Dana secretly recorded her husband's reaction to share with family. But that video is now on the verge of going viral.
Lady just came up to me and said, "You the guy was on there crying. Everything is going to be okay. I'm praying for you."
It shows that God is able to do any and all things, you know, so I'm grateful. And I said, if it can help someone else and give them hope that it can happen, then, you know, that's what it's about.
Dana's doctor says all is going well with her pregnancy. Their little boy is due in February.
Yes, 8 News is on the move live from the UCI Road World Championship finish line here in downtown Richmond. We're entering the final days of this international extravaganza, and we thank you for joining us on this Friday evening. I'm Juan Conde.
I'm Amy Lacey. We are live here at 4th and Broad. We saw just a few moments ago Kevin Ledenois of France. He actually won. The crowds went crazy for him. This has been such an exciting evening.
He won the men's 23 and under race that was held late this afternoon. That race is wrapped up. But the next race is really one of the most interesting that they'll have during the UCI in its entirety. And it's called the Conquer the Cobbles Ride. Why is it interesting? Cyclists of all abilities and ages can tackle the same 10-mile course that the riders will be hitting this weekend.
It will actually be kicking off in just a few moments at 7 o'clock. And, of course, our team is there, and they are with us here, too. Jonathan Costin and Matthew McClellan standing by with all the details on Friday's UCI race coverage.
Let's begin with 8 News reporter Jonathan Costin, who's up on Libby Hill.
And we look forward to this every year. 8 News taking the lead to keep kids warm this winter season.
We have teamed up with Puritan Cleaners once again this year for the Coats for Kids campaign. And right now, our 8 News anchor Juan Conde, he is out there at the Puritan Cleaners on Midlothian getting things started. Juan?
Hey, Christina. Hey, Amy. It's okay. Midlothian and Grove. Look, when you stop by, we've got delicious snacks for you and candy and cookies. They even have a couple of pizzas, and helping us serve it up today, the food and the love is Raina, one of the employees here. Come on, talk to me. Don't be shy now. Hi, Raina.
Hi, Juan.
Juan, she forgot my name, right?
I'm so nervous. Sorry.
We've known each other for years. Tell us what Coach for Kids means to you.
Well, it means a lot. It's because I'm of this big family who's making a difference. We're making people's lives changing. We're warming up Richmond, and it's a great thing. And I also want to give a shout out to the Hispanic community.
Tell them in Spanish.
Quiero a todos los hispanos que vengan a la Midlothian, donen sus jackets para los niños que necesitan estar calientes este invierno. Gracias.
Beautiful. Basically, she said, if you're Hispanic, don't feel bad about coming to Coach for Kids and bringing your coat for all you English speakers out there. Oh, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. 8 News is on the move this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us. We're broadcasting live from the James Center in downtown Richmond. It is Grand Illumination. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Juan Conde.
I'm Amy Lacey. We are so excited to be here. The crowd is already gathering. This is the 3rd year that we have been here for the Grand Illumination, and I have a feeling it's going to be the best year yet.
All right, guys. Are you ready to count this down? Okay. Count with us. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful.
Our city is ablaze for the holiday season.
You know, you would often think that with the amount of rain that we had today, that donations would be slow. Not the case. We thank you, Central Virginia, for coming out, donating tons of food, and really hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And it really is making a difference here in Central Virginia.
Tonight, we'll show you a unique path to happiness. But to get it, you'll have to give up most of your worldly possessions.
Could you do it? Our 8 News reporter Jonathan Costin takes us to a community in Louisa where people are living the simple life.
Well, the reasons I came here were for ideology, because I wanted to live a simpler life.
This is Keenan Dakota. In 1983, he gave up living in mainstream society for a life in a commune, an egalitarian community in Twin Oaks.
But the things that have kept me here are different. Like, it's a great place to raise kids. I like to work. I like to work with my hands. I like to build things. And I think that's true for a lot of people who live here.
Meet Tom Freeman. He moved to Twin Oaks 20 years ago, a former lab technician and a William & Mary graduate.
Oh, I was a young Republican. I'm still very conservative. For me, it's mostly a sense of, I take a pragmatic approach.
It was a college friend named Danielle who convinced Tom to live here. Danielle died of cancer in her 30s. She's buried here in the Twin Oaks Cemetery.
And she kept telling me about Twin Oaks, and I was like, oh, hippies in the woods singing Kumbaya. It's not really my speed. And she kept telling me, like, no, Twin Oaks is more than that.
It certainly is. It's a group of shrewd business people who started living together nearly 50 years ago on a few acres of property selling hammocks. Now they own nearly 500 acres of land. We'll get back to those famous hammocks in a moment, but first you must understand the people who live here believe in sharing their income, and by living together, they say they consume less. They grow most of their own food and have livestock for meat and dairy. They also have a fleet of 13 cars.
We have 7 houses, 7 kitchens, 7 stoves, 7 toasters, 7 microwaves.
Don't stereotype them as hippies, even though some people here identify themselves as hippies.
But it's not all about, you know, doing crazy hippie stuff, you know, wearing your hair long, wearing flowing skirts and dancing to the Grateful Dead. It's not like that at all.
They live in a commune, so they must be communists, right?
And even the term communist, I mean, like, when you think of communist, you think of places like Soviet Union and stuff, and you know, and that's kind of oppressive. I mean, it's the opposite of what we are.
They vote in elections and they use capitalism to live the way they do. From the Twin Oaks businesses, each adult's taxable income is equal to about $7,000 a year. And that money goes into a common pot to pay for everything at the community. However, members do get a monthly allowance of about $103. And they say all their needs are met, from medical to dental.
We live outside a lot. We walk around a lot outside. You know, we eat well. We don't have as much stresses. You know, we're not stressing mortgages. We're not stressing whether they're going to be fired or not. We're not stressing if we can provide for our children.
The big trade-off is you will live at Twin Oaks. Anybody living at Twin Oaks will never, ever be poor. You will also never, ever be rich.
And what about crime?
There is no crime. Everybody has what they need. I mean, if you give people what they need, they don't steal stuff.
People here share the work. This fellow is a professional computer programmer, but now he's a woodworker.
None of us come here knowing how to do the stuff we do. We're all city kids. And most of us are like, you know, college-educated, white kids from the middle-class suburbs, and we come out here, and then we live in the woods.
Everyone here selects his or her own job, and they must work around 40 hours a week on an honor system. Their warehouses are full with food. Their homes are warm and cozy. Their needs are all met here. A midwife comes here to help with births, and a hospice was built here so people can die. So how do they support themselves? For 30 years, this popular store sold Twin Oaks hammocks, and that's how they were able to build and buy land.
You know, we ran these very successful businesses and deal with big-name players in industries and make millions of dollars.
But when Pier 1 Imports pulled the plug on the hammocks a decade ago, Twin Oaks had to change its game plan.
This is basic rug yarn with UV inhibitors in it.
Of course, they kept making their famous hammocks, but the folks here started to use soybeans to sell tofu, products neatly packaged and wrapped that you probably buy in area supermarkets like this one on Gaskins Road.
So how do you become a member of Twin Oaks? Well, there is an application process, but there's a waiting list. You see, 91 adults live here, as well as 15 children. You see, Twin Oaks communities become so popular that it's helped spawn 2 other egalitarian communities nearby.
Acorn is 7 miles away with 21 people, and Living Energy Farms is also in Louisa County with 4 to 5 people. We're told these people live totally off the grid. Twin Oaks does not.
We are not off the grid. I mean, it's a goal of ours. We have solar panels, and but we still get a lot of our power from the the power company. We don't have commercial TV, but around the edges of that, people have their own computers and they watch things online, and a couple people have Netflix accounts.
The folks here want to create their own utopia.
I think the longer I'm here, the less suited I am to being out in the mainstream, because like I don't put up with having a boss. You know, I just sort of set my own schedule, work when I want to work, take a nap when I want to take a nap.
We earn our money, we pay our taxes, and, you know, we just want to live our lives.
Well, Juan and Christina, I know what you're thinking. Before you tell the boss you want to trade in the anchor desk to sell tofu and hammocks. Now remember, there is a waiting list. Now, after you get past the waiting list, you have to intern there for about 3 weeks. And then you go through a grueling interview process because they want to make sure you get along with folks. And then you have to get along with folks because you're living in tight quarters.
Wow, and the children are actually raised there as well.
Yeah, they're raised there. They say they're just like you and me. You know, they send their kids to school or they homeschool their kids. And now listen to this. Now, a lot of their children, they even travel the world extensively. And so, and just think of this, you know, they don't have to worry about childcare because they could attend all their children's functions. And when they attend their children's functions, that applies to their 40-hour work week.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, not long ago, a lot of people used to live like this.
True.
Exactly. You guys signing up?
Very interesting.
We'll let you know about that, Jonathan, although it is cool.
That is. All right. Thank you for that.
Christmas wishes are coming true for 7 women behind bars at the Richmond City Justice Center. Yesterday, I introduced you to these participants of a new program helping them to strengthen their roles in their families and communities. And today, a celebration for how far they've come.
This is a princess moment for Patricia Powell. In and out of the system for most of her adult life, here she is, primping for a special day. Her 2 nephews, sister and mom, are expected in just minutes.
I haven't seen my mother and them in a couple of years due to my addiction, and I'm just so excited to want to see them.
Christina Askew can barely contain herself, too. It's been 15 months since she's seen her kids, Alicia and Justin.
Touch them and smell them and hold them. I've just been really excited. This is such a blessing.
To get to this point, these women completed a 28-hour support group and class.
So what word describes you on that board? What word best describes you?
Determined.
Determined. Write that on your paper.
Offered for the first time in the Richmond jail.
This ain't where I want to be, but this is where I need to be.
They learned the key to loving others is loving themselves.
They are somebody, they are special, and if they love and respect themselves, they won't come back in here.
Lessons learned, and finally, doors open. Hugs and tears, signs of brighter futures together.
Oh my goodness.
I think it's a good Christmas bonus for her to get, you know, good holidays, finish the program up, get another step forward towards actually fixing her life permanently.
But across the room, disappointment too. They said they'd come, but Patricia's family isn't here.
It hurts, but it's going to be okay.
Although they didn't show up, we're not sure why. I've called, haven't gotten an answer. Really heartbreaking. You know, she's still able to be here with her sisters that are in the program and have a day that really you forget that you're an inmate.
And that's what this program aims to do for each woman. Serve time and then get out, realizing irreplaceable bonds and how they can be better people.
Because this is a new me. It's a fresh start to get it right and keep it right.
This has just been a wonderful Christmas for me.
And I had goosebumps the whole time I was there, just seeing that emotion between those mothers and daughters and sons, and it was just beautiful.
And even for Patricia, I think, you know, her heartbreak on what was a really happy day for a lot of people just kind of, you know, goes back to the idea that it's always a pull between, I don't want to say, well, yeah.
She had a lot of support there from everybody in that program. People went and they sat with her, and it ended up being a special day for her too, because she has really grown so much. I followed her story yesterday. Today, she's definitely a grown woman.
And tomorrow is always a new day.
Absolutely.
All right, good stories, Amy. Thank you.
I recently met with researchers at Virginia Tech, the same scientists who rated football helmets. Now they've taken their tests from the field to the ice. Their major finding, about a quarter of all hockey helmets worn from the pros to the youth leagues may be unsafe. From the body checks to the slams into the boards to those hard hits on the ice. No doubt about it, ice hockey is a full contact sport.
Kids will bump each other from behind and stuff like that, and that's when they go flying into the boards. That's the scariest part.
Brian Gowdy coaches the Richmond Royals Youth League. There's limited contact at this level, but he knows a head injury is always a concern. According to the Centers for Disease Control, out of all sports, boys hockey has the second highest rate of concussions, a blow to the head causing the brain to shake inside the skull. In this rough and tough game, your only power play against a concussion may be your helmet. But Dr. Stefan Duma with Virginia Tech School of Bioengineering and Mechanics found most hockey helmets score low in safety.
We looked at 32 models, which were all the models of new hockey helmets on the market.
Tech researchers perform rigorous impact tests with the hits coming in at different heights and speeds.
For each helmet, we tested 48 times. So front, side, back, top, centric and non-centric.
As with football helmets, Tech used a 5-star rating system, 5 being the best, 1 considered marginal. The results? 9 helmets failed to earn a single star.
We think 9 are performing so low that no one should buy them.
None of the helmets earned a 4 or 5-star rating.
And then all of these are basically 1-star.
When we shared the ratings with parents like Mark Chevron, whose son plays for the Richmond Royals, he was not shocked.
Basically, it's plastic. Plastic and styrofoam.
Chevron counts on good coaching to prevent injury.
They've learned if they have to fall and they fall into the boards, they learn to tuck their head.
But parents were surprised to learn helmet costs did not play a role in the rating.
Some of the most expensive helmets didn't perform that well, and some of the cheapest helmets were at the top of the list.
As part of the study, researchers compared how much protection hockey players have on their body compared to inside their helmet. And what they found is their head is the least protected. You can see it just looking at this glove. Look at the amount of padding here compared to what's in here. More head padding and a slightly bigger helmet is needed, says Dr. Duma.
Right now, they're about 15 millimeters, so we're talking about 30 millimeters.
The study already appears to be shaking up the system, and Dr. Duma expects we'll see changes next year.
Every week we have a company in here testing a new device, a new product.
In the meantime, the real power play is on coaches to teach safety.
Teaching the game just to be aware where they're on the ice, because it is a contact sport, and keeping your head up is a big deal.
Carrie O'Brien, 8 News.
Speaking of winter weather, it contributed today to a tense moment in Glen Allen as rescue crews responded to a frozen pond where it wasn't someone but something that was stuck on the ice. 8 News reporter Kristen Smith watched it all unfold in Henrico. This is a story you'll see only on 8.
We are on Brook Road at the shopping center just across the street from Virginia Center Commons, where Henrico crews just made a rescue attempt at this retention pond. They saved a duck stuck in the ice.
There it sat, a black and white duck in distress, reportedly stranded on the ice since last night. A viewer called 8 News and we called Animal Control. Within the hour, the cavalry. Henrico County Police and Fire arrived on scene to save the day.
It was decided to go ahead and use our water rescue team to come out and rescue the duck and get it to a medical facility.
Crews tried using a rope to nudge the duck to shore, but the little guy didn't play along. So they brought out a boat. But even that proved challenging as the frightened waterfowl flopped away from the folks who were trying to save him. As a crowd gathered to watch the daring attempt, firefighters managed to grab the duck and pull him to safety.
It's exciting. Everybody clapped and cheered. It's awesome.
It was a great opportunity for all of the guys in the water rescue team to practice their skills. Ice rescue is not something we do every day, so the more chances we get to practice it, the better we are when a real opportunity comes around.
As for the lucky duck, he's off to an animal care facility to get checked out for injuries. In Henrico, Kristen Smith, 8 News.
Nice to see a happy ending there. He is a lucky duck.
That's one of the feel-good stories of the day.
Central Virginia, welcome to the premiere of the 8 Sports Slam Dunk. I am Mitch Carr.
And I'm Chip Briere. Mitch, a historic night for 8 Sports.
Absolutely. The first show that focuses solely on high school basketball. We could not be more excited.
Here we go. Final seconds, tied at 37. Blake Bowen at the buzzer. You know it to be true.
8
8 News at 5 starts now.
This is not Ferguson. This is not South Charleston. And I refuse to allow the community to make and paint a picture of our officers.
Some strong words today from Richmond's police chief in the wake of a deadly officer-involved shooting in the Fan. Right now on 8 News at 5, we have new details on both the suspect and those Richmond police officers involved.
Several of our 8 News crews have been following this story since it broke. We want to start now with 8 News investigator Carrie O'Brien. She is live outside Richmond Police Headquarters. Carrie.
Amy Wan, Chief Alfred Durham says he lost sleep last night over rumors that his officers acted inappropriately and shot excessively. He says there is no doubt in his mind that his officers defended themselves.
So this stuff about black shooting white, get it out of here.
Chief Alfred Durham says deceased suspect Keyshawn Hargrove, who has a lengthy criminal record, fired at veteran officers Ryan Bailey and Jacob DeBoard multiple times, hitting Officer Bailey, a 9-year veteran of the force, in the shoulder.
Mr. Hargrove was a convicted felon with an firearm. He decided to turn and shoot at our officers.
The chief says the incident unfolded after police received a 911 call about an armed man in the Fan neighborhood. When Officer Bailey, who is black, and Officer DeBoard, who is white, arrived on scene, they first tried to talk to Hargrove, but he fled on foot. Police chased him, and the chief says Hargrove pointed his gun at the officers and opened fire.
We don't come to work to shoot people. I love this community. Our officers love what they do. And guess what? We have bad people out there. Let's face it.
And despite community tension and claims of multiple rounds being fired at Hargrove, the chief says the preliminary investigation shows the officers never reloaded their magazines and hit Hargrove only once.
He sustained one gunshot wound. The autopsy was done this morning, and it was revealed that he only sustained one gunshot wound.
Officer Bailey is home recovering, and he's said to be in good spirits. In fact, he wants to get back to work. But he, as well as DeBoard, are on administrative leave as the Commonwealth's attorney does their own investigation. Now, the chief also said the deceased suspect's mom has been an angel in all of this. You'll hear about that coming up on 8 News at 6. In the meantime, I want to send it over to my colleague, Jonathan Costin, with more.
Hey, Kerry, we're learning more about the suspected gunman, Keyshawn Hargrove. As the chief mentioned, Hargrove was a convicted felon. Now, according to court documents, he was convicted of malicious wounding in possession of a firearm back in 2010. Authorities also tell us Hargrove was a person of interest in an aggravated assault case that happened back in July. And as you've heard, Hargrove shot at officers multiple times. He was hit once. Our cameras were back at the scene this morning as detectives returned to continue to look for evidence. Now, I also talked to Hargrove's older brother. Today, he says the family has heard many of the rumors the chief addressed, but he tells me his brother shouldn't be judged by his past.
3, 4, almost 5 different stories. I've heard that he was hit once. I've heard that he was hit 10 times. I've heard that it was almost 20 shots. Like, to me, it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, authorities say the investigation is expected to continue to take 30 to 45 days before it's handed over to the Commonwealth's attorney. Jonathan Costin, 8 News.
And Jonathan, thank you very much. Officer Bailey wasn't the only officer injured last night. Officer Nicholas Castrinos was injured when he overturned his police cruiser while responding to the shooting. We're told the cruiser was forced onto its side when the officer hit a pole at the corner of Lombardi and Broad Street. No other cars were involved. Officer Castrinos has been treated and released. Meanwhile, other police departments showing their support tonight. The Chesterfield Police Force tweeting at CCPDVA, have your officer and everyone involved in our thoughts and prayers. Of course, this is a story that we at 8 News are on top of. Stay with 8 News for the latest developments on air and online. Amy?
We're also following a weather alert. We're expecting a pretty good dose of rain and maybe even claps of thunder into the later hours this evening.
You see the cloud cover there over the capital city. Let's go straight to John Bernier for that storm tracker forecast.
Yeah, things are going to be a little unsettled over us here. We've got a little gap in the rain across central Virginia right now. Some light rain moving through the northern part of the state. We're okay right here, but at the very bottom of your television screen, you can see all the way down through here, through the Carolinas. That's where some pretty good showers and thunderstorms are ongoing as we speak right now. Here's a look close to us at what's going on. Maybe a light sprinkle or two across Chesterfield County, but that's really about it. This is the action in the Carolinas, and that's going to be lifting north. It's very warm and humid to the south. It's more so than we are right here in central Virginia, and this moisture will be lifting northward later this evening over us and setting us up for some pretty good rain here across the area. So let's kind of go ahead and talk about what's going on tonight. Squirrels have got baseball tonight. They'll probably get the game started with no problem, but as we get towards the later innings and the fireworks coming up towards the end of the game, we're looking to see some rain headed in over us here, with temperatures checking in probably about 74 to 77 degrees over the area. And then as far as things are concerned with the models, here we go. Rain coming in later this evening across the area. The model's not too bad now, but by the time we get to right around 10 o'clock tonight, it's all going to be green over us. It's going to be pretty wet. We'll talk about that and show you how much rain you're going to get coming up.
And you can keep the forecast with you wherever you go this evening, when it's raining, when it's not. All you need is the 8 News Storm Tracker app. It is free right now in the App Store or Google Play.
Fire at the Chesterfield apartment complex drives several people out of their homes tonight. The majority of the damage was contained to an apartment on the ground level. Other units had smoke damage, we're told. No one was injured. Chesterfield fire officials say it started on a stove. The Red Cross is now assisting 3 people who've been displaced. News where you live in Henrico now, where a teen's been charged with impersonating a police officer. A driver says they pulled over for a blue light behind them, and the car with the blue light drove past them. They jotted down its license plate, then called the real officers. That teen was issued a citation and released.
An aerospace company that uses a state-owned launch pad at Wallops Island says it will help pay for repairs from the rocket explosion last October. The unmanned rocket bound for the International Space Station exploded just moments after takeoff. Today, Orbital said it would insure the launch pad for future launches.
We are still waiting tonight for a vote from Danville City Council. A proposed ordinance that would make it so the Confederate battle flag wouldn't be allowed to fly on city-owned properties. Over the weekend, more than 300 supporters of the battle flag demanded the flag keep flying over the Sutherland Mansion. The mansion where the flag currently flies served as the capital of the Confederacy in the final days of the Civil War. We'll have the results of that scheduled vote on 8 News at 11. Meanwhile, in Kentucky, a commission has voted to keep a statue of Confederate President Jefferson Davis in the state capitol rotunda. That 7-2 vote requires an educational component to be added to the statue. Both of Kentucky's gubernatorial candidates called for the statue to be removed following the racially motivated slayings, according to authorities, of 9 black church members in South Carolina back in June. 73% of voters in one poll wanted it to stay.
A consumer alert now. The FDA warning tattoo artists of a batch of ink contaminated with bacteria. When the ink is injected into the skin, that bacteria causes an infection and it can spread throughout the entire body. If you're a tattoo artist or if you're thinking about getting a tattoo, you want to check out all the information. We have it posted for you on our website, WRIC.com. Richmond is the 3rd most tattooed city in the country, just behind Miami and Las Vegas. RVA averages about 14.5 tattoo shops per 100,000 people, and that's just within the city itself. The town of Colonial Heights has 5 shops for just under 17,000 residents.
Today at the Bon Secours Washington Redskins Training Center, the Houston Texans joined our home team for the first of 3 joint practices. And 8 Sports Director Mitch Carr was there. Mitch, the team is from Houston, but some of its players are not strangers to Central Virginia.
Not at all, Juan. There were a few guys who either grew up around here or played their college ball here, or both. The biggest example of that is a guy that a lot of people are rooting for around here, Texans All-Pro left tackle Dwayne Brown. He started as a tight end at Hermitage High School, then went on to play tight end before switching to tackle at Virginia Tech, and then the Texans drafted him. Now you're going to see number 41 on your screen. That is Jonathan Grimes. He played at William & Mary. He's a running back. He also plays special teams, and with Arian Foster, the Texans starting running back, having pulled a groin, it looks like Grimes may make the team and could even see some carries during the season. And then number 64 is Jasper Coleman. He also played at William & Mary, and before that, he was a James River Rabbit from out here in Midlothian. Every media outlet in town wanted to talk to Dwayne Brown today, so he was at the podium.
It's still kind of surreal to me to be in my hometown, you know, and playing professional football. You know, I never thought, you know, this kind of opportunity would come. It's nice, you know, and it's just high school memories, you know, college memories when I came back home and visited, you know, middle school memories, you know, everything.
And Dwayne Brown's mother was here and telling lots of stories. That was a good time. Today's attendance was excellent. A lot of it had to do with one guy that came in with the visiting team, and we'll tell you who that was at 6. Back to you guys.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Mitch. Coming up next here on 8 News at 5, a legal tug-of-war heating up in California over a woman's frozen embryos.
And it's the end of an era. Tonight, Jon Stewart signs off as host of The Daily Show. You are watching 8 News at 5. We're covering the news where you live.
From downtown to Dumbarton this Thursday evening. Stay with us. 8 News at 5 returns in a moment.
Good evening. You know, they always say don't go to bed angry, but what if you go to bed and you haven't solved all of your day's problems?
Yeah, maybe Mom was right that sleeping on it really does work. We'll tell you why tomorrow on Good Morning Richmond.
Welcome back. New developments now on an outbreak of deadly Legionnaire's disease in the Bronx. The death toll is up to 10. The number of infections stands at 100. The disease is caused by breathing in mist contaminated by a certain bacteria. Officials suspect that mist is coming from cooling towers atop buildings. Lawmakers are calling this an all-hands-on-deck situation, and they're asking for help.
To not only continue to identify cooling systems and cooling towers in the area, but also to do testing in cooling systems outside of the area where we've seen this large cluster of individuals who have been sick and where the people have died.
More lab test results are expected to be released in New York later tonight.
A developing story now, a historic decision soon to be made in California regarding the fate of frozen embryos. ABC News spoke exclusively with the woman in the middle of a legal battle with her ex-husband. She wants to keep their embryos, but he wants them destroyed.
2 years after Mimi Lee and Stephen Finley's marriage unraveled, the former couple is now in an ugly legal battle over the fate of their embryos. Lee is desperate to save them.
My babies. And knowing that I'm their mom and I would do anything for them.
In an exclusive ABC News interview, Lee says after she was diagnosed with breast cancer, the couple decided to create and preserve 5 embryos.
It was critically important.
But this signed consent form shows, in the case of divorce, the embryos should be unfrozen and discarded.
It's still an agreement.
And in court, Finley is asking the judge to order they be destroyed.
Her legal argument is this wasn't a contract between us. This was just a form we filled out. That's not an easy legal argument to win.
Thanks to medical advancements, hundreds of thousands of frozen embryos are preserved across the U.S. Lee, who's now 46, says these 5 are her last chance to have children. The judge's decision is expected in the next 4 months.
We've learned that Finley told the court he's concerned his ex-wife would manipulate the situation to extract money. But Lee says she's made it clear she does not expect him to be a part of the children's lives, physically or financially. Of course, we'll follow the story and keep you updated.
If you're a fan of Marshmallow Peeps, here's a consumer alert for you. New flavors are coming this fall. On August 31st, you'll be able to find caramel apple, candy corn, and of course that pumpkin spice flavor. Each flavor is dipped in a hardened shell the company calls fudge. The special fall flavors will only be available at Target and the online Peeps shop. John, I didn't know there was an online Peeps shop.
Neither did I know, but it'll be your chance to get many Peeps coming up very soon. Yes, for us, we may be getting many raindrops headed your way tonight. Temperatures today cooler, mid-80s over us here across the region. We're sitting at 85 degrees, 86 degrees, as you can see down in Petersburg. Now the radar over us, our live radar again continues to show not much going on right now. All the action has pretty much been a little bit of steady rain to the north of us. And here are the showers and thunderstorms swinging out of the Carolinas. And notice they're starting to turn and come to the north up the interstate and in our direction. They're not moving as fast as the traffic on the interstate on a good day, but they will get here a little bit later on this evening as a weather system that's working its way across Kentucky. You can see the nice swirl right there. This is all the energy in the atmosphere that's swinging this way. It's trying to pull the moisture from the south right up over us. So the stage is set for some pretty wet weather tonight and tomorrow morning as this system has to push through the area and reach the coastline. Now, the models as far as rainfall are concerned really showing the heaviest rain right in the southeastern part of the state here. But even for us, another 3/4 of an inch or even more possible. It's going to depend upon if we have thunderstorms mixed in over us. I think early this evening here across central Virginia, you're okay. If you've got to go out and run out there and mow the lawn between now and sunset, probably pretty good, maybe around 81 degrees or so, but the showers will be knocking on the doorstep, and then it's going to be soggy overnight as temperatures drop down to 71 degrees. Wet start to your Friday, 73 degrees at 8 a.m. We make it back only to 81 in the afternoon. Do see a little glimmer of hope. We might see a little sun breaking through the clouds by late tomorrow afternoon. Here it is tonight. Again, 7 o'clock we're okay, but the rain's overspreading us as we head towards 10 p.m. or so. It's wet overnight across the area. Rain spinning in off and on all night long for you here. Here's another band coming in as we head through the day tomorrow. Then finally tomorrow night, everything starts to pack up, move on out of the way. Going to head into your Saturday, and we'll wake up and we will start to see sunshine over the area. And Saturday afternoon, it's going to turn into a beautiful afternoon for us here. Not much in the way of humidity. Temperatures around 83 or 84 degrees. And the second half of the weekend, the Watermelon Festival. It's looking pretty good. 87 degrees on Sunday. We get back into the mid-80s next week with another chance of showers headed your way on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Still ahead, could it be rumors swirling that actress Jennifer Aniston finally tied the knot? We look into that.
It would be horrible. No, just playing. All right, proof also that you're only as old as you feel. This woman in her 70s just started a new and exciting career. Her story doesn't end there, though. We'll tell you how it saved her life when 8 News continues.
We're back with proof that it's never too late to start a new career. Check out Marchi Alfonso. She's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and she started her modeling career. I got choked up a little bit in her mid-70s. Even more amazing, while getting her headshots done, she found out she had malignant melanoma, which is the most serious type of skin cancer. Alfonso says her new adventure in modeling probably saved her life.
Big news now from Hollywood. People magazine reports actress Jennifer Aniston and writer-actor Justin Theroux are officially married. Sources say the couple exchanged vows in front of a small crowd of about 70 family members and friends at their home in Bel Air, which is where I would like to live with Jennifer Aniston one day. She's 45, he's 43. I'm just joking around. We're happy for them. They were engaged back in 2012 after a year of dating. After 16 years and nearly 2,600 shows, Jon Stewart leaves The Daily Show this evening. The 52-year-old announced he'd retire from that Comedy Central show in February. South African comedian Trevor Noah takes over. Stewart, you'll recall, actually inherited The Daily Show from Craig Kilborn. Fun fact, Jon Stewart is famously from New Jersey, but actually a graduate of the College of William and Mary.
So he had some local ties for a time.
He does have local ties, and there's a famous picture of him at young, like college age, wearing a William and Mary t-shirt. Apparently he was quite a soccer player back then.
I do know that he's going to be doing some animal work in New Jersey. He just bought a farm that he's going to have sort of as a rescue sanctuary.
Spend some time with the family.
Yeah.
All right, time now to reveal our special keyword of the day. Have you heard about training camp? Today's word is quarterback. You can enter quarterback at rewards.wric.com. Get yourself 2,500 free points. Then use those free, did I say free? Points
free.
To play games or win prizes.
And is your car decked out in burgundy and gold? This pickup truck is. This photo sent in by Twan Buckner. We are looking for the biggest skin span. Is it you? Head on over to WRIC.com. Submit your photos under the Rewards tab. And stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Here's your primetime lineup on 8 News. We begin at 8 p.m. with Astronaut Wives Club. Then more ladies at 9 with Mistresses. Check out The Force on Rookie Blue at 10. Then at 11, we'll have all the day's top stories and your weather in the first 8 minutes of 8 News at 11. And a brand new half hour of 8 News is just a few minutes away.
We have a lot of big stories coming up, including this one. It's almost showtime. The first debate of the 2016 presidential campaign cycle is just hours away in the battleground state of Ohio. The latest on Vote 2016, new at 5:30.
Of course, that kids' table debate began about 25 minutes ago. The questions come each fall with the regularity of pumpkin spice latte. Will Starbucks CEO run for president? His response is new at 5:30. Mark?
I'm Mark Tenya. 400-plus jobs are coming to the Richmond area. We'll tell you where and how you can apply coming up tonight on 8 News.
A live look at the River City. Look at the gray clouds out there.
Yeah, we're going to check on the storm tracker forecast here in a moment. Stay with us.